I, 43F, have one daughter, 18F. Her father left us when I was pregnant with her. I own a small interior design company, which is very successful in my country, and I make a very good living from it. I met my husband, 55M, about 8 years ago. He moved in with me 7 years ago, and we got married 2 years ago in a private ceremony. My husband has 2 children from a previous marriage, a boy, 20M, and a girl, 19F. Both my stepchildren hated me and my daughter at the beginning of the relationship. When my husband asked them how they'd feel about him moving in with me, they initially hated the idea and told him that if he did, they would stay permanently with their mother. After a while, my husband moved in anyway and told them they were welcome if they changed their minds. They did, after seeing the big house with the pool and all the great accommodations. The boys started liking us gradually, and we're on great terms now. The daughter, not so much. She was horrible to me and my daughter. One day, when she was about 13 to 14, I heard her making fun of my daughter's weight and looks to her face. I was livid. I have suffered from an egg growing up because of bullying, so I absolutely knew how dangerous that was. I knew how my daughter must have felt, so I told my husband that my stepdaughter was never allowed to live in my house again. My stepdaughter tried to apologize, and she was sobbing, but I didn't budge. I had too much experience with bullies to know it just gets worse when they're confronted and have to apologize, and I wasn't going to take the risk. So she moved permanently with her mother. My initial plan was to break up, actually, but this was my husband's idea. She still bullied my daughter in school. They didn't go to the same high school, but my stepdaughter had friends in my daughter's class who did her bidding. I found out about all of this about a year ago. My daughter was embarrassed to tell us and thought she could manage her bullies. It broke my heart, and I felt so guilty that my baby didn't dare to confide in me. Uni is free in my country. Students often take student loans with almost zero interest and work part-time jobs while studying to make ends meet, but the education is free. When my stepson started uni, however, I gave him $100K so he didn't have to work and could concentrate on his studies, engineering. He was so grateful but told us that he wasn't sure he could be trusted with such a large sum, so my husband is handling his money, making monthly payments. I am planning to do the same for my daughter. My stepdaughter graduated with great marks and started medical school this year. She asked her father about her $100K, and he came to ask me. I was confused because before I gifted my stepson, I asked my husband if I could do it, and I wasn't planning on doing the same thing for my stepdaughter. He told me I could do what I wanted, and it wasn't weird at all because my stepson and I had a great relationship, and he always saw me as a second mom. He got really mad and told me that my stepdaughter had changed a lot, but it wasn't true at all. Although she wasn't living with us anymore, she made sure to make our lives a living hell every time she visited, and even got physical with me and my daughter. If she started playing nice now, it was only because there was money involved, and I knew that and my husband knew that too. I even told him that she called me the BTCH and even saved my number in her phone under the BTCH. He is now very angry. He hasn't talked to me in over a week. He's saying I'm using my money to control their lives and that he's heartbroken. If I don't have enough money for both daughters, I can split my daughter's share between them since my daughter isn't even sure she wants to start college right away, and let's face it, she will likely never get into med school, his words. Maybe if I did it, my stepdaughter would be more grateful and closer to my daughter. I don't know what to do. I feel like I don't owe my stepdaughter anything. My daughter and I have suffered enough because of her behavior. She could still do like the rest of her peers, work and take loans, and she has a bright future ahead of her. There may be some truth in his words about me using my money as a reward/punishment. I am ashamed but still defiant. I should do what I want with my money. Additional info. About getting physical, she pushed my daughter so hard that my daughter stumbled and fell over the Christmas tree 2 years ago. She said she didn't mean it, my daughter was in her way, and she didn't see her. She didn't know that I was watching the whole time. She even laughed when my daughter fell. She wasn't allowed in our house on holidays afterward. As for me, she literally slapped me in the face when she was 14. Commenter. You know this man is just with you for your money, right? You may want to reconsider that whole breaking up plan you had. Just think about it logically. If your children told you they would never see you again if you moved in with a man, what would you do? I'll take a wild guess and say you would end it, right? Well, he didn't. So, we've already established he's a bad dad who doesn't actually care about his children's best interests. Next, his kids didn't want to move in with you until they realized you were rich. Kids often learn these morals from their parents, so what does it tell you that both kids were suddenly okay with things, and the stepdaughter threw a fit about leaving the home of a woman she hated simply because you have nice things? Maybe that they were raised by someone who has a particular interest in the finer things in life. Continuing from point 1, when it came to picking his child or picking your money, again he picked you with the money and permanently kicked his kid out. What the hell? Finally, now that you've said you won't give her any money, he's trying to pretend he's a good father? But we've already established twice that he doesn't actually care about his kid's best interests. And given he's the one in charge of his son's money, it stands to reason he'd probably expect the same. Even if he didn't, again, he's only willing to be a good dad when that involves taking your money. If it involves giving up your money, though, oh no, his kids can go rot for all he cares. And I guess one last point, he wanted you to give up providing for your actual child to provide for his and even decided to insult your kid. So, that brings me back to my first point, if you were in a situation where you had to choose between a man and your kid, who would you choose? Because you seem like you choose your kid, even before you realize he's just in it for the money. Remember, with truly manipulative people, you never see it coming. Update 1. Hi, I have now talked to both my husband and my stepdaughter, so I thought I should share it with you if you're interested. But before that, I want to say that I'm very disgusted, although not surprised, by the amount of people who actually took a bully's side. What I wrote in my first post wasn't just one-off incidents. Anyone with more than 3 brain cells should have understood I wasn't going to write 8 years worth of bullying and bad behavior in one post to convince bully apologists to understand why I did what I did. Many also talked about how we, as parents, have failed the bully. I don't know how, since the 2 other children we raised turned out to be decent human beings with a lot of empathy for others around them. I only wish everyone who defends bullies or tries to explain away their horrible, life-scarring behavior to never have had to deal with one in their or their children's lives and feel the pain they can inflict on others. I do not regret any of my actions. I saw my stepdaughter for what she was, and I acted instinctively. Her young age played little to no role in my decision to protect my baby. My daughter was and still is my sole priority. As for the update, I decided that I should try to confront my stepdaughter directly instead of communicating through my husband or via text, so I asked her over for tea. She accepted immediately, which was a first. She showed up last Sunday. I sat her and my husband down, and I just bluntly asked her why she should expect any financial help from me when she hated my guts. She got defensive and said that she didn't ask me, she asked her dad. I told her that I knew she wasn't stupid and she well knew that stepson got his gift from me and not their father. She said, "What's the difference, you're married?" I told her the difference is that her brother treated me and my daughter as family while she always hated us, bullied her little stepsister even in high school, and I asked her if she would give money to someone she knew hated her half of the amount she hated me and why then she expected me to do that. She was shocked here as she didn't know I had found out about the high school bullying. She started crying and apologizing, but I told her I wasn't the one she should be apologizing to. I told her that I wished her great success and happiness but that I won't be helping her financially throughout her education. My husband was silent the whole time. When she left, I told him to never compare our daughters again, making my daughter to be the inferior one just because she wasn't as academically successful as her stepsister. I trust my daughter, and I want her to be happy, and if she wants to study in a less prestigious school, so be it. Her happiness is the most important thing to me, and I didn't appreciate him dragging her and comparing her to others when none of what happened has anything to do with her. He tried to apologize and told me he just wanted to help his daughter. I told him he's free to do that however he wanted, just not at my daughter's expense. We have been civil to each other ever since, although he's a bit cold towards me, but hopefully, he's just ashamed of this whole episode. I will give him some space because honestly, I need some myself to think things over. Thank you for listening.